Welcome back to Tales from the PowerAge, and tonight we're taking you all the way back to 1987 and the mighty Among the Living album from the incredible, at the time and still now, Anthrax. So we're going to take you through that in a few minutes, our memories of the album and the tour. Before we do that though, please hit the Held spell, give us a sub, give us a like, get involved, tell us your memories from that tour, tell us where you saw them, and also your thoughts and memories around the album as well. Probably one of the classic thrash albums of that era for sure. So how you doing, boys? You good?
Yeah, good.
Good,
Cheers.
Good to see you. Okay, so we're going to wind our way all the way back. I know it's hard to believe it was that long ago, but it was. So let's kick off with the singles, Gav. So over to you.
Yeah, we definitely remember this coming out. We were all over Anthrax at the time, and this was hotly anticipated. The new single from Anthrax, and I think we probably bought quite a few formats. This is the poster, which folds out to be a huge version of the. I don't know if you can see that. There you go.
Really awesome. Look at it.
Yeah, and that's Charlie did that, and he was a big fan of the magazine, the Judge Dredd magazine, comic book, I guess they'd call it.
2000 AD.
And then he did all the band members in the same style as well in the poster. So yeah, he's a prolific artist as well as riffer and drummer. What a guy. But anyway, yeah, we can talk about the song a bit later on, but we were pretty impressed with what we heard. And there was a 7-inch version. Dill, did you show that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably just worth calling out the B-side. Don't know if anyone wants to mention what the B-side was for this one.
Buddy, Love Bomb and Satan's Lounge Band, I believe.
So didn't appear on the album, obviously, but
funnily enough,
one of their kind of comedy mental songs.
Yeah, great.
And that's the thing about them; they never took themselves too seriously, did they? Which was
and I'm the Man as well, which
some of the other thrash bands of the time.
Yeah.
We're going to go on to talk about the album in more detail and also the tour. We saw them twice on this tour, so stay tuned for that.
Well, actually 3 times if you include Donington.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so next single.
Yeah, so this is I think Indians came out when the album came out, roughly, and then I'm the Man came out much later after the album was already a big success. Again, I got the poster bag, and it's got some really cool live shots. I'm the Man was much later, obviously not on the album, originally a B-side and then promoted to be a single along with Caught in the Mosh and I Am the Law live on the.
You know, I think they played that at Donington as well, didn't they? Probably need to check, but I'm sure they did. You know?
I'm the Man.
No, I'm the Man.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Well, Donington, did they?
I'm sure they did. You know.
I think they'd use that as the way they swap instruments and
muck
around. Yeah. They definitely did it at Hammersmith because it's on the video.
Yeah.
So to the album, I bought it on CD when it first came out. So
I had it on tape.
We all had to pick up the vinyl later on.
Tapes were in then, kids.
No, I didn't. I bought this when it came out.
Yeah, I bought
it. Slow on the uptake, won't you, Dill?
No, I was loyal to vinyl.
Gav, you were the first.
Did you not have a Walkman then?
Yeah.
So you couldn't listen to your metal all the time?
I had them on both, mate.
Of course you did.
So, my dad, God bless him, I think was the first person in the vicinity to have a CD player. And I remember Gav coming around to listen to Brothers in Arms back in the day.
Yeah, and more memorably, Livewire.
Yes, on TNT. Yeah,
you can hear Angus turning up his volume and it getting more and more distorted because like, God, I never heard that on the record.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the days. Anyway, back to the point.
Well, as a I'd obviously got Slayer's Rain in Blood the previous year, and I never thought after hearing that album that I'd hear another thrash album that I'd enjoy so much and it would be so brutal as that album. But then I heard this, and my first memory of hearing it, I think Gav got it first,
obviously,
and his dad took us to the bus to go to college, and we used to play it on the way down. We only got through 2 songs because it wasn't very far, But Among the Living, I mean, what an intro to a metal album. It's just absolutely brilliant. It's so eerie, the little beginning bit, and then the brutal drumming as it comes in. And we were both trying to get, because there's no hi-hat or anything, we're both trying to get the intro to the drumming and get it on the back of his dad's seat in the car, which I wasn't very happy about. And yeah, it was brilliant. But yeah, I mean, what a song to start an album with. It's just absolutely brilliant. It's well, it's unsurpassed, really. The first 4 songs in this album, we'll talk about all of them individually, but this one is just brilliant. The introductions to a lot of these songs is some of the best intros to metal songs of all time, among Caught in a Mosh, I Am the Law, NFL, Indians. I mean, all of them, in fact. Imitation of Life. The intros are just so brilliant, and there's no singing for ages in all of these songs. It's just mental.
Mm-hmm.
And the riffing is just so, and it's the heaviest guitar sound. It's just so good.
And the way it kicks when it kicks the actual album off, because I really loved the first 2 albums. I love Fistful of Metal.
I love Fistful of Metal as well. It's totally different. It's like speed metal. It's not thrash metal.
But this is so different, and this is so. When you said there about the metalness, the rawness of the guitars, they're so heavy. And this is at a time I was very much into I loved the hair metal side of things and your GNR and all the different stuff. I loved a bit of AOR as well, your Survivor and American Heartbeat album and all that sort of stuff, as well as your metal. This was the heaviest band that I liked. And then this album was the heaviest album that I'd ever heard, that I'd ever actually not just heard, but been totally into.
Yeah, because you weren't a Slayer fan at all, were you?
No,
so this would have been nuts for you.
I was about pure vocals and about pure. I loved tight, clean, and this is just ridiculous. And the way it starts, and the way, as you said there, the total metal and the really fast parts and the heavy bridge and the catchy, slowed down chorus and everything about the Among the Living and the Follow Me or Die was so was so very serious but awesome. And for me, the entry, the gateway to this record through that song is just immense. And
I wonder if your ears picked up on Joey, because he when he's not doing Anthrax, he's in a Journey covers band.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's obviously
immense, isn't he?
through and through.
All right, I never knew that.
Yeah, he's into that kind of very clean vocal, exactly like you said.
Well, he can certainly sing. So
yeah,
and his vocals on this album are just top notch.
Yeah,
completely. I mean, this elevates, like Iron Maiden and when Bruce joined, this elevates them to a new level of global capability. And then they had, with this album particularly, they had consistently better songs and better riffs. And then the final, icing on the cake was the production, which we can talk about later.
Yeah, okay. And then came Caught in a Mosh, which is still a staple of the live set now. And just that I certainly remember that. We'll talk about the live show in a few minutes, but that was I've still got memories of that. It was mad, and also at Donington as well. Brilliant. It
was the first time we heard mosh as a word, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's an introduction to that word. It was probably in America, but we'd never heard it before.
No, we'd definitely never heard of it before, and I think, I don't know if they are credited with it being kind of almost common parlance now, but it is.
It's the way he says it in the song. Which one of these words don't you understand?
Yeah.
It's just so brilliant.
It was about a roadie, apparently. A roadie got caught in the mosh, and they were. That's a good song title. Yeah.
Or a mulch, as Jammy's esteemed sister might say.
This song, 100%. But this song, and again, you've just pulled out one of the great lines, as far as I'm concerned, but also another one of my very, very favourite lines, and this revisits me on a weekly basis, is talking to you is like clapping with one hand.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant.
Comes back to me, and I think that when I'm dealing with an idiot or just enough to dick, in my head it'll be talking to you is like clapping with one hand. What is it, caught in them? And then I'll just in my head it'll just play it out, because the Bevox are just the sing back. What is it? It's caught in a mod. Oh.
Yeah, that's another unique thing they had, isn't it? It's
your hardcore gang vocal Bevox. Yeah. No melody, no nothing. It's really punky, that part of it, which is what they took from hardcore punk into the metal scene.
But I don't think we'd heard that so easily identifiable before either.
No, you've never heard it before, I don't think.
And he's got a very distinctive voice as well, hasn't he, Scott? So,
but again, I put for Joey's screaming / singing on this song is so on point. It just feels the vibe, because again, remind ourselves, 1987, we're 17, 18. I hated the world. I hated pretty much everyone and everything. And this brought me great solace, and I could relate to all of this. I was talking to people that just didn't understand, and they were fucking idiots.
Well, there's a lot of aggressive lyrics and feelings.
Dealing with a lot of fools. And just because that's where you are when you're 17, 18, and you've got people looking at you like you're a piece of rubbish. You've got people in authority talking down to you, not wanting to listen to you, certainly not caring what you said or thought or anything. And as a guy of that age in the UK, this was brilliant. Really was great.
Just to get a little bit drum nerdy. Sorry, Dill. Gav's the drummer out of all of us, but he taught me some drumming, and I listen to drums all the time because of him. And Dave Lombardo was God to me at this point until I heard this album, when Charlie Benanti became my new God, because the drumming on this album, if you've never heard this album and you're a drummer, you really need to hear it. But the bit he does in Caught in a Mosh before it actually goes into where he's doing it on the snare drum, you know what I mean, Gav? I can't do it. It's ridiculous, but it's just, it's godlike.
Yeah, the first, there's some amazing bits that I'd never heard before, like just the thrashing on the double bass drums and the hi-hats at the same time at the beginning of the song.
Yeah.
And then
That's
the fill
Skeleton, isn't it?
Yeah, it's skeleton in the closet. Yeah.
But where he goes in the beginning of orgasmic drumming.
Where Dave would just be super fast and super creative, Charlie had, I don't know if he had thought about it or if it just came naturally. He'd do stuff you definitely never heard before.
Yeah.
You know, and a bit like Lars as well. As much as people criticize Lars, he did stuff that guitars and drums hadn't done before. Yeah, in tandem with each other, you know.
All his offbeat stuff was immense.
Yeah. So the three of those, you know, took drumming to a completely different place.
But the drum sound on this album, the toms especially, they're just they're so in your face.
Yeah,
and the bass is up there as well. The mix is incredible on this record. It really is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, can we talk a bit about the production while we're here then?
Yeah, go on. Who produced the album, Gav?
Eddie Kramer produced it, and I'm sure everybody watching this knows that the band, and especially Charlie, massive Kiss fans. So having the record company wafting Eddie Kramer in front of Charlie was all he needed, you know, because he'd done Rock and Roll Over and had worked with Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin, and, you know, little old Anthrax. Having the opportunity to work with a hero like that was all they needed. And I think what he ended up with was absolutely fantastic, but it wasn't what the band were first presented as the first mix. If you believe reports, I think Eddie wanted it sounding kind of big and 80s, and, you know, very much of the era. Maybe his ears were slightly older ears, and they hadn't heard what Rick Rubin had done with Slayer the year before and made it completely clean and everything. Because Anthrax is so fast, it has to be clean, which we've talked about on other pods. And so they heard the first mix, and it was woolly and echoey and reverby, and they hated it. And they thought, oh God, we've got a problem here. So they I don't know if they remixed it themselves or you know, sat with him and did it, and ended up with this dry but groundbreaking production that still sounds brilliant today. I was listening to today. It sounds so good.
It's immense.
So is that why the production credit is Anthrax and Kramer?
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Then there you go. Yeah.
Was it initially just okay? Interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So when you were talking, I was thinking, well, Anthrax got a production credit, so I thought they must have been well involved. So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on to I Am the Law then. Stonking riff.
It's one of the most immense riffs to start a song ever.
Yeah. I mean,
did this single come out before the album?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember certainly Gappy and me, maybe Jammy as well, up in my bedroom listening to it.
Yeah. But this,
over and over again.
We all bought it. I haven't got access to my singles, but we all bought this single, and that didn't happen all the time with everything. Yeah, that didn't happen. All of us bought this single, and it was immense.
But it sounded so good. I had the 12-inch.
Totally different, isn't it? And on a subject which is, you know, it's about a comic book hero.
It's
you know.
12-inch.
It's cool at that age. You know,
I remember it.
Yeah,
sounded
exactly.
so good, and
A
also,
great single.
you know, in the middle of the song where it does the fast bit, I've never. Well, at the
Oh.
beginning of the song when it goes into the riff after the original riff, and it's just descending, you know, by semitones or whatever it is, and then in the middle, I think, is it down tuned gaps? It sounds like it is.
I don't think it is, because I always used to play this on my brother's guitar. This is
Oh,
the
right.
first thrash album that I could actually start playing on guitar.
Oh, when it goes down and down and down, it just sounded so good.
I always thought it was in E. I might be wrong,
Right.
but I didn't have
Let
to
us know,
down tune. I
nerds
didn't have to
below.
down tune my guitar.
And then the middle bit where they do the thrash bit. Oh my god, I don't think I've ever heard anything as
No, the
brilliant
thrash
as that.
bit when it goes into that.
Yeah.
But you got the you know, respect the badge. He earned it with his blood. Fear the gun. Your sentence may be death because I am the law. It's immense. Absolutely immense.
I put the word that kept cropping up in my notes, and this is the third song. We're 3 songs in, and I've put is relentless metal. It was relentless up tempo metal. And when you're 3 songs in, there's no sign of let up. It's just so good. And again, the drumming. I ain't a drummer, and you two talk you talk for England on drumming. But the drumming, as you said at the start, it's just such a build. Such a build up. It's just 3 songs in, and there's no sign of let up. Brilliant.
It was a great single. Really good choice.
Yeah, I love it. Massive live tune. And again, another one that they still play live now. So
Yeah.
Let's go on to NFL then. So Gaps, I know you love this song.
I do. Immense. Again, the harmony guitars at the beginning. You get the hi-hat coming in, and then it goes metal. What a surprise. But the thing about this album, you hear the first song, and right near the end of Among the Living, you can't wait for Caught in a Mosh to start, and then right at the end of that, you can't wait for I'm the Lord to start, and right at the end of that, you can't wait for Evil Neckerfuss and NFL to start. It's just they're just constant. Every single one is just brilliant. It's one of the only songs that I couldn't get all of the guitar playing on this one. It's quite difficult, but it's just so good. And the subject matter is was it about James Belushi, wasn't it, and his drug addiction? I think that's what inspired it anyway. But
okay, cool.
It's awesome.
Because it's Scott that writes most of the lyrics, isn't it? I think
Scott wrote all. Yeah, he wrote all the lyrics on this album. Yeah.
And it just felt, this one did feel really, to me at the time, felt really clever. It's like, if we could, it's just great to be able to say, the fact it was, and then in brackets NFL, and then I enjoyed shouting. I loved shouting it back, and we'll talk about seeing them live. But to be able to shout, we spoke before about the rage inside us, and that just summed it up. Just nice effing life. Just shouting that, it was just like, it was clear. The other thing is just the bass and the drums drove it. It feels like it really drives this song. It's just so,
the bass is so high in the mix in this album. It's just brilliant. Frank Bellows' finger playing is just untouchable.
It really does. Even though we're talking about the riff and the guitaring, but the bass is just so strong with the drumming. Just again, I love this. I really love this track. We're 4 songs in. Is it gonna let up at any stage?
You got another great line in this. You wake up dead in a plywood bed 6 feet from the rest of your life. I mean, it's just so good.
Funk, that's so danceable, that bit. You cannot not move to that bit. It's great.
I got neck ache from this album more than any other album ever.
Save that for Strictly this winter. They can see them going down the storm. Right, the last song on side A, A Skeleton in the Closet. Gav?
Brilliant drumming again. Just absolutely off the scale drumming. And I was obsessing about him at this stage.
Double bass drumming all the way through, isn't it? At the beginning, it's.
I mean, we'd already had Gung Ho, which was impossible to mimic, in my understanding. And then on this album, he just takes it faster and further and better. With his playing is off the chart. I think all of them had their own personality. That was the thing about Anthrax at this stage, didn't they? They all had, you could tell a Dan solo a mile off. Because
it was so different on this. I've never heard guitar playing like it.
I don't know what scale he's using. I've
got no idea. I can't speak as a musician on that point, but the notes he was using were different to anyone that was around at this time.
But so every member, Scott was contributing the lyrics and the shouty backing vocals and the heavy riffing. Joey was, off the chart. and we've already mentioned Frankie and his amazing fingers and his melodic bass playing. You know, they're all delivering the goods, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay.
As far as the songs, I mean, when I was listening back, this is the first, and it shows the high level of the first 4 songs. First track that I thought, oh, this one's okay, this one's all right, as in it's really good. And again, when we pull out, and I've put, holy shit, it's a relentless metal ditty with a really catchy chorus. But the lines, tell me a story, will ya, a real good story, I won't leave till ya. It's so brilliant. Cool. And you hear that, it's just punchy and catchy. Great lyrics, great sort of, and that bringing into those storytelling side. But it closed out the first side in a crazy way.
So that takes us on to side 2. And one of the singles, Indians. And this was always a highlight of the live show as well. And they still do this live as well, funnily enough. So I love this tune. Brilliant, great melodic guitar coming in, starting this tune off.
It's sort of classic heavy metal, isn't it? The beginning of it.
Yeah, it's got a touch of Iron Maiden about it, hasn't it? This song?
Yeah.
But yeah, really great. And he comes out with his Indian headdress on live. Just a great tune. One that I think we were talking about beforehand, that listening to it now, it almost sounds better today than it did in '87.
Well, it does to me. It's one of my least favourites back in the day, but now it's just really good. It's the first sort of thing they did that was sort of politically charged, this song.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it went down with the some areas in America.
Well, we thought it was great.
There's a picture somewhere, I can't remember where it is, of Joey in his headdress, where he actually physically looks like a Native American. They've made him look like it. It's just brilliant. I can't remember where I saw that picture, but it's just incredible.
There's one there.
There you go.
It's nice from there in the program.
Well, he's got that heritage, hasn't he? So
yeah,
that's why they were in a decent. You know, it wasn't un-PC for him to talk about it because it's part of his heritage. So,
we spoke at the beginning. I think Gaps, you said about the intros to all the songs, and again,
the intros are amazing on this album.
And this is when you've got songs that are 5.5 minutes. You're going to have that because you've got a minute or so where it's just going to lead in before the song proper. Yeah. But they're not. It's not drawn out. It doesn't feel too long. It's just really special. They've done a lot of work, clearly, and I think that's where you say with the all the musicianship is so good, and they've all got so much to say to express themselves. That's before the lyrics come in. It's quite something that it carries across. And the Indians, for me, the beginning with the drumming that makes it feel so authentic. Really amazing, really cool.
And then you got the war dance.
Oh,
and then it changes into the middle 8. It's so cool.
Yeah, the mosh bit.
Just
okay. So that's Indians, and then we've got 3 tracks to finish off on side B and finish off the album. So the first one, One World. Gav, any comments on that one?
Where you start going a bit more deep cut, I guess. You know, when I've seen them twice doing Among the Living in full, and you can imagine what the first half of the set, or the first 3/4 of the set is like. You know, it's like, this is brilliant. You've heard most of them before, but when you get to the last 3, you haven't heard them before live because they're not the hits, are they, or in any way? But in that has its own charm as well. You know,
2017 we saw the 30th anniversary tour, didn't we?
Live, interesting to hear, but on the record, they slightly taper off a bit. One World's great, but the other 2, I think, you know, especially Horror of It All. I know Gappy loves it, but it takes 3 minutes before Joey even sings, which we've said is a good thing up until this point. But I thought maybe
I think it is on this track as well.
For One World, though, ignorance is no excuse for violence.
Yeah. Again,
it's almost like every song's got some key message or something, and that resonated. And I thought that was really a really great line.
This is quite a political song, isn't it? Because
but I love the almost.
This is 1987. Don't forget, height of the Cold War.
But it's almost.
I think we all like that as a bunch of mates. Though we weren't meatheads. We liked a bit of intelligent lyrics in there as well, and
Thrash was about that. If you think about Master of Puppets the year before as well, it was becoming very politically charged and
absolutely
statements. If it goes to Neanderthal, then they were out, and
they were taking themselves a little bit more seriously on Horror of It All, in my opinion.
But when you consider the view of the world, that's a total generalization, but the view of the everyday people on us 17, 18-year-old yobby metalheads, and it was thoroughly untrue. We were the future, and we were sick of being told by people of the world, leaders of the world, who were doing a shit job at the time, about this stuff. And
you can't have this job because you've got long hair, for example.
Yeah, exactly that, because that's
actually had twice.
I had to do that 6 months after this record came out. I had to get my hair cut. But there you go, means to an end. But yeah, for this song,
I didn't.
Just to pick up, just the chorus. It was a really funky chorus, and I love the call back on it. Again, the sing back on it. It's brilliant. One world. Really.
What I'd like to know from anyone out there is if anyone knows, if ADI is actually an acronym or what it actually stands for. I know it's only a little piece of instrumental, but does it actually stand for anything? Because I've got no idea whether it does or not.
Yeah,
I never looked into that.
Okay, cool. So finishing off then with Imitation of Life. Any comments to this before we go to the live show?
Well, it's the fastest song on the album by a country mile. It's also got one of the greatest intros of all time, with sort of slightly Middle Eastern introduction to this, which it took me ages to learn on guitar, but I finally got it down. But then I gave up when the thrash bit comes in because it's too fast for me. I just can't do it.
It reminded me of SOD.
Yeah, this was more SOD than any of the rest of it. The lyrics in this song are just brilliant, and Dill's going to love it because the ones I've pulled out from this are: bands dressed like women with hairspray and lace. I'd pass an image law, stick it in their face. What a brilliant line! And I wasn't into the
definitely SOD then
glam metal stuff at the time, so that one really resonated with me.
Yeah. Having a dig at Pantera then, clearly, at that point.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Right era. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Well, that's the album. Let's go on to the press ad, Scav, for the tour.
Yeah. So as we said earlier, we were lucky enough to go and see them numerous times, but we're going to focus on the actual UK tour. Dill's got the program there, and trivia buffs amongst you will notice that it's flipped from the album. It's the other way around, which is let me just show that. There we go. Why is he facing the other way? Is it a conspiracy theory? And Testament supported. As usual, we were very lucky that they played Oxford and Hammersmith, so it was dead easy for us to see both. So good those days. This was just out of Sounds and Kerrang. Relatively short tour, but they were over here all the time. So it didn't feel like a bad thing at the time.
They did 2 nights at Hammy, didn't they?
Yeah. Some great shots of Donington as well in the program.
Yeah, considering they'd only just been to Donington, to then sell out 2 nights at Hammy O, it's pretty cool.
Exactly.
It showed where they were at.
Yeah, we loved them, and we loved it. They had kind of 2 sides, and we've spoken about this with Metallica as well, with the Garage Days and the serious albums.
Yeah,
Anthrax had the 2 sides as well, with the the rapping stuff and maybe the
Bermuda shorts and the skateboarding tough. Yeah.
And the crossover with Public Enemy. Loads of stuff. So
and on that note, you wouldn't expect necessarily an Among the Living tour T-shirt to look like the white one here. It's a completely different image.
What metal band did a white T-shirt?
Yeah, Metallica. Crash Course in Brain Surgery. So
of course, I remember that one now. Yeah,
and I had 2 white T-shirts. I bought this. I bought this. Got this at Donington a couple of months before this, and the front, the not character there. We got caught in the mosh, the scariest mosh of my life, and the front of the T-shirt was white by the end and just a little bit of the yellow Anthrax, but the character had gone. But the back looked awesome, so I kept wearing it for the next few years. And it literally, I think I had a fag burn in the front, just a little fag burn on the front.
No surprise there. The amount of
cigarettes to our American cousins.
Yeah, I had cigarette. Good shout, Gav. And I had an Alice Cooper white T-shirt, and that was it. That was the only white T-shirts I had in my life.
Yeah, they're a bad idea. They're always a bad idea.
But that was a great T-shirt. I loved everything about that T-shirt.
I think we all got that T-shirt, didn't we?
Yeah.
I know I certainly had it and loved it.
It was a sweatshirt.
Got to mention though how awesome Testament were supporting Anthrax, by the way, on that tour. They were
Yeah, you're quite right.
brilliant.
Yeah, I didn't put their set list in, but we did enjoy a couple, especially Burnt Offering.
Burnt Offerings, yeah. What a great
Burnt
song.
Offerings. I do one little story on this. Gav and I went the following year. Well, we went this year, and then we also went the following year to Germany, where Anthrax and Testament played the following year. So they played, Anthrax had played Donington in '87, but played Germany, Monsters Rock in '88. And we went and we took a guy with us who was, he was the glammest glam rock fan ever. And I'll never forget his face when Testament came on. Do you remember that? It was absolutely hilarious.
It's like we'd never heard it. It's like been dropped into a different planet.
Yeah, his face. He got to see Davy Roth and Kiss, and then suddenly Testament stormed the stage. It was a picture that could tell us thousands of stories. It was brilliant. Great memories. Good days they were, weren't they? Great days.
We were very lucky.
So the first night, well, taken out Donington, the first night that we saw them on the proper headline tour was the mighty Oxford Apollo, and there's Gav's ticket. There's my one just there. Look, we're on the same row. So front stalls, L1. I think we just must have brought a whole bunch together in row L. Probably most of that row, to be fair. There's some of the guys there. Some of the friends of the pod. There's Gary, Ballo, Metal Wells. We've got Dixon Rogers at the back, and you can see me and Gav there. I've got my Metallica Crash Course in Brain Surgery t-shirt on. Gav's got his Spreading the Disease, and he's got some red.
Is that Gary on the right?
Yeah.
I went with Gary, so maybe maybe I took the picture.
But you can see we were obviously freestyling with the because we didn't have umbrellas and we were wearing plastic bags on our head, stop our hair getting wet. Brilliant. It was a wet night, fantastic. And leather jackets, the order of the day.
And my Lars Ulrich jacket there, in all its glory.
Just anyone that hasn't watched one of our Oxford Apollo attendances before, you'll see loads of different pods. Front stalls, that was good because they would Oxford classically would take out the first between 3 and 5 rows of the stalls to create an actual pit, a proper area. And if you weren't in there from the start, as soon as the band come on, you'd be launching yourself over, and half the stalls would be in that front 3 or 4 rows. And as long as you had front stalls, you'd be able to get there. If you had circle, you're going to struggle. But as long as you had someone, you would struggle. I tried many times. But that meant you could be in the very front, didn't it, Dill? So that's why we'd go, front stalls. I know I'll get down the front.
And look at that, 6 of your finest English pounds. I mean,
I think they tried to leave the seats in sometimes, and they got torn up. So
I think they learned. That learned them.
Yeah.
So fun fact about Oxford, though, we may have mentioned it before, but it had the lowest barrier at the front. It only came up to about knee height. It was dreadful.
And it's still exactly the same. It's still the same because I was there for a gig the year before last, and I piled down the front. No one else did at first, and I stood there and I thought this is going to be dangerous because there was a proper orchestra pit in front. There was no barrier, literally, to my knees. There was no barrier, and I had to be really careful for the whole gig. It was immense. Great venue still.
Okay, well, let's get on to the gig then, shall we?
Yeah.
So we were down the front. Couple of memories that I've got from the gig. A bunch of us all going. It raining beforehand, but just being down in the mosh, loving it, going nuts in caught in a mosh. Banging your head, putting your fist in the air. I think the band were really receptive as well. We were on Dan Spitz's side from memory, which is on the left side of the stage, if I'm not mistaken. Managed to pick up a plectrum on the night initially, which is Dan Spitz's, which I'd caught, and I was so chuffed. And then a week later at college, I was searching through the pockets of my leather jacket and then found another one. So that had been chucked out and somehow it found its way into my pocket. I was so happy about it. There you go.
That's mad. That's mad, isn't it? You think about that. That's a madhouse.
So that's how mad it was back
in the madhouse.
But it was fantastic. They played God Save the Queen, and again replicated that T-shirt when we saw them a couple of years ago at Brixton Academy. Some classics that I absolutely love. Gung Ho is one of my favourite Anthrax tunes. Madhouse, absolutely stonking tune. And then the ones we've already mentioned from the album as well that were played on the night as well. I don't remember the drum solo, though. I guess you might, Gav, but...
Not really, no. I think
I don't really remember drum solos.
No. I think, I remember it mainly now because of the video. which is I had on VHS when it first came out. Not sure if it's had a DVD release, but it was on this deluxe version.
Yeah,
that is in fact the video there.
But at least it went into one of their best ever songs afterwards.
Yeah, and they chopped out the covers, obviously, and they chopped out the drum solo. So that's I've kind of forgotten the rest of it. But yeah, I mean, I remember seeing Gung Ho, and I remember thinking, right, I'm going to go back home and learn to play the piano because I can't play drums like that.
Brilliant. My abiding memory from the Oxford girl, I didn't go to Hammersmith, but was when they did Living After Midnight, and they all swapped instruments. It was
that's
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Joey was on drums, wasn't he?
Yeah. And Charlie was on guitar, obviously, and I think maybe Frank was on the other guitar, and they play the solos as well, exactly the same as Priest did. Not difficult solos.
No.
That's probably why they chose that song. But it was brilliant.
It says here this is the first time they played Antisocial. Now we'd be interested to know from you lot
at Hammersmith, because they didn't play it at Oxford.
We think, yeah. Is that true? This is off Setlist FM, so it may or may not be true, but yeah, I mean, it could be true.
There's two of us here that actually like that song, and there's two that isn't. I wonder if you can guess who they are. Probably not. Now you might.
Hey. No, my beef on Antisocial is it's a good song, and if they did it then, great. I don't want to see it now because they've got so many better songs. That's a waste of time, especially when they do big sing backs. And
when you look at that set list, I mean, it's awesome. No one's sort of mentioned this word yet, but I love Medusa. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so
fantastic song.
Got a great rhythm, and I love it.
Best song on Spreading, in my opinion.
It's a great dance. Yeah, it's just you're just going to dance to that. And I absolutely love it. That's so strong, that set list, and then you get the drum solo, and then AIR, and then into I'm the Man. So then they muck about a bit, and then God Save the Queen, as you said, rescued it with Gung Ho, but then covers. Gav, they weren't on the video, luckily, but at the time you'd have probably been doing your nut. At a time when you wanted as much as you could get off of the latest record, that's the only thing that would have been the only beef.
I think that's true. You know, we see it a lot with the Doningtons, don't we? That American bands come over here and think we want to hear the Clash, or Sex Pistols. Like, well, no,
that's what I mean.
Pardon.
Isn't it funny? That's the thing. They think, I can do this is special for you. Play the song off the record that we love.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Gav.
I think, especially when you get to an album of Among's stature, you just play your own songs, dudes. We love you.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I think, if anything, just underselling themselves, realizing how special that is. And as you said, I don't know, when I used to go to a gig, if there was a special guest coming on, I was never really that fussed, unless I loved a special guest.
If you look at it, they've only got 5 songs off the new album, and they're all over in the first half.
So that's quite a lot, though. To do 5 songs off a new album is a lot.
Yeah.
Well, out of a 9-song album, I suppose it is.
They knew how good it was, didn't they?
Yeah.
This is all fine with hindsight. Because at the time, I'd have just been a hot, sweaty mess and thought, "Freaking hell, it was awesome, love it."
Exactly. Both of you two were going nuts when Antisocial was played. I guarantee it. Back in the day,
completely. Yeah, I mean, this exactly as Sam says. This is just with our view now.
Yeah.
At the time,
but I didn't like Antisocial at the time.
Middle-aged grimace.
Didn't.
I remember going to the bar and to the toilet, and then coming back and going, "Oh, good."
You certainly didn't go to the bar.
Of course I did. We were of course I did.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't have never got down the front again.
Of course I did.
Anyway, 5 days later, Hammersmith Odeon. I managed to get as my ticket, and it's signed by none other than.
Oh, hang on, let me big you up.
There you go.
Oh,
Scott Ian Rosenfeld.
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
Well, this is actually Roger's ticket. Funnily enough, I didn't see him, but he came past. Well, they look identical. So, John Rogers, if you're watching this, mate, I've still got the ticket.
I nicked your ticket off you, mate.
Interestingly, his signature's changed a bit now. And if you go back to the program where they put the signatures in the program on each of on the photos, as you can see, it's identical to his signature. So it's changed quite a bit now. He signs it.
Oh, cool.
Interesting. If you're into that sort of stuff, of course. But yeah, similar. There's a set from Hammersmith. The only thing I remember there is we were in the circle and not in the stalls.
Oh, that's a shame.
But again, the shame. But again, because you love a ticket, Dill, you love a ticket, Gavin, you love a ticket, and Hamio had shit tickets at this point. They decided to,
and it was £1 more expensive. It
They
doesn't sound a
decided-
lot now. Doesn't sound a lot now, but it was then.
yeah, it was. But they decided that was the London tax. They decided that because
Yeah.
they were a cinema Odeon, that they'd have a rubbish ticket, and it was so
Yeah.
annoying. I remember at the time being, look, this is
They
rubbish.
were rubbish before this as well, though.
I can't remember what they were, but
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
the original ones were
They were
rubbish.
stamped on the back with a
I
rubber
know,
stamp.
like, yeah, but they were classic.
They're
That was
rubbish.
classic.
No.
Hamio. Oh.
The
Now,
trouble, you're right though.
always
These
been
are like
red.
cinema tickets. These ones, just identical to the cinema
Yeah,
ticket
you could have been going to see Top Gun. Wouldn't
Yeah.
make any difference. Yeah.
or Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I like that one.
Anyway, that's the gig. So, but huge success. We love the gig. Oh, I would
Yeah.
have given the concert 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant era.
Brilliant.
So there was the video, Gav, from Hammersmith.
Yeah, I rushed out and bought it straight away. And actually, it's quite nostalgic. If you watch the beginning of it, it's on YouTube, guys.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
They filmed the crowd going in, and I haven't studied it properly, but I'm sure we're in there somewhere.
Of course we are.
Everybody looking the same. Lots of idiots like us wearing Bermuda shorts and whatever. You know, they had a real gang mentality, didn't they?
Yeah.
And a look. And yeah, we loved it. We absolutely blooming loved it. And to have them do their global video in London, yes, please. Fantastic.
That's cool.
Okay. And what came next?
Well, sir, a bit of a strange one. So I think they say that they kind of rushed it out, both the music and the cover. And if that's true, then that rings true, because we kind of didn't like it, did we?
It starts off brilliantly. The first track's superb.
We'll start off with the cover. The cover's.
The
I
cover's
hated the
cool.
cover.
Yeah.
I was going to say pony. Yeah, toilet, pony and trap, whatever. It was.
But
Yeah.
I think there are, for me, there's only 4 good, really good songs on this album.
I personally never want to see that of my heroes. You know, I didn't realise they'd gone to Blackpool and
Caricatured on the back.
had a few beers and got persuaded to part with £2 each. No, that's not a metal hero for me. So
And the production was way more like what Eddie Kramer probably wanted to do on the previous album.
Yeah.
It was way more polished.
it's big sounding. Yeah. And Mark Dodson's very respected, isn't he? He's done stuff with loads of
But hey, they were going to struggle. How are you going to do a follow up to Among the Living? Because it's
Well, they never
so,
have. That's the thing.
It's so high. It's so there, and it's a magnificent album.
I think
And
some of their more recent albums are pretty fine. You know, they are up to the scratch.
Yeah,
but-
worship music gets close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess, you know, what we forget is they were touring. They would have toured the arse out of the successful album before
Correct.
Mm.
and eating into their recording and writing, or especially writing in this case, the recording time.
definitely.
The writing time, you know, and the record company says, get another album out. It's like, we've only just come off tour. And, you know, you end up with a potentially subpar, but, yeah, still good. Still sounds good. It's just not at the same level. But,
No.
you know, we've had that with lots of bands, so it doesn't matter.
So that's Anthrax. Hope you enjoyed that. That was the tour Among the Living and our memories from a couple of dates. We didn't really take you back to the Donington date, but what a brilliant album. 10 out of 10 album, 10 out of 10 tour. Fantastic.
Correct.
I'd love to go back to that actually, because it was superb. Right. If you want to see some Anthrax live, some videos that we took from Brixton Academy a couple of years ago, there's some on the live channel, so check that out. There's lots of other stuff as well. All manner of stuff. We get out quite a bit if we can to various gigs across the 4 of us and our friends, and we share a couple of those vids normally per gig on our live channel. So check that out. Please subscribe as well. We'd love that if you did. So you can contact us on Facebook or see what we're up to on Facebook from Tales from the PowerAge. We're on X on Tales from the PowerAge at TTFTPR. We're online at www.talesfromthepowerage.com. And if you want some merch, you can get it from Redbubble, and there's some really decent stuff on there too. So hope you enjoyed that. We're now going to have a chat about what pub we're going to do next, because there's lots of other gigs that we haven't covered, and we're really looking forward to sharing those with you. So have a great evening, everyone. Take care. See you later. Bye.
Cheers,
People.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.